It's already almost Valentine's Day, although it really felt like January was super long, y'all. Hello, YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so grateful to have you here with me. I had a little technical thing, so I already started a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, didn't it seem like a long time? Oh, Stephanie, you've helped me too. You have no idea. I'm so grateful. There was my co host Q back here. Once again, you guys, this pumpkin back here is like the pumpkin that never quits. Okay, it is the pumpkin that never quits. So if you're watching me on Facebook, I'm going live on YouTube. Also, if it glitches, swap over. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm live on Facebook too. You can find the link in my little subscription area. So come on over, hit the little like button, all that good stuff. Hi, Jill. And so this pumpkin back here, this is the pumpkin that never quits. My my son decorated this pumpkin for his Latin class. So this is Prometheus on the pumpkin, right? That was in October. In fact, it was the middle of October. Hi, Greg. Hi, Pamela. Welcome. It was the middle of October. This thing is still beautiful. It is still perfect. It is still in one piece. How long do pumpkins last? Like, it's a work of art and all, but I thought at some point it would start to like rot or smell or something like that. Oh, health to your baby, health to the little one. I hope that they feel better very soon. So I have not been able to figure out when it's going to go bye-bye, but guess what? I'm going to keep it there as art until it does. So that's just how that works. I love my son's artwork. He's absolutely amazing. He did the drawings for my little book, and he's working on his own little book now, and he does drawings and stuff. So he inspires me. He inspires me so much. And my book got him his first illustrator credit in the Library of Congress. So that's pretty exciting for a 16-year-old. So I'm really pumped for him, you guys. All right, so I did something with my hair, y'all. Now the YouTube people can see it, but do you see the ends? Look at that. Not necessarily for Valentine's Day, but I gave it a little zhuzhin up over there. And it's interesting because so I got this off the shelf at the Walmart clearance, y'all, 75 cents, right? I'm not spending a lot of money on hair stuff, and I've dyed my hair for years. This is the closest I've been to my natural hair color since I was pregnant with my son 16 years ago, because I didn't dye my hair while I was pregnant. So it used to be this color all over a lot. I did like a burgundy, purpley color a lot. I would go really, really blonde, which always turned orangey. I've done black. I've had my hair pitch black. I cut these little like Egyptian bangs, you know. Hi, Keith, welcome. So I had said to myself, like almost a year ago, I'm not going to dye my hair anymore. I'm just going to let it be what it is. I'm going to lean into my crone status. And yes, that's so funny that you say that, Mary Jane. So I'm walking through the Walmart in the clearance aisle. You know, I'm a bargain shopper. So I'm in the clearance aisle and I see this little 75-cent thing of hair colors. So I grab it. Looking at it. She is dancing across the sky like an ember about to burst into flame and light up the night. And I was like, oh man, if the universe is quoting poetry to me, then I need to grab this red hair dye and give myself a little dip in fire. So I'm dipping myself in fire, y'all. I am stepping in to my leadership. I am stepping into my physical transformation and my health. And while integrating with my divine, I'm also trying to reintegrate with my physical body. So that's my personal journey, y'all. And if you can relate, give me a little thing down below. Say something that you're there with me. I turned 50 this summer. So it's time. If I'm going to do what the universe wants me to do, I need to get my physicality together. So enough about that. All right. So it is Thursday. It is the day before Valentine's Day. And I thought it would be really interesting and important for us to talk about love. Love, earthly love, the way that we interact with each other, relationships, how it manifests here on this planet that we are all along for the ride on, you know? Let me tell you, it can be a bumpy ride. What was that? Betty Davis, hold on to your hats, boys. It's going to be a bumpy ride. That's how life is. That's how life is, right? That bumpy ride. I got my little Ray Dunn mug that I bought for 50 cents at the thrift shop. That's right. I'm a bargain shopper. Anyways, so many of us, especially in the spiritual community, tend to struggle in romantic relationships. We often will struggle in friendships. We will struggle in family relationships. And why does this happen to us specifically? Everyone struggles, but not everyone cares about the struggle. Some people just think that's just how it is. That's just the struggle. That's just life, yo. That's just how it be. But those of us who are in this spiritual awakening, those of us who are going through this transformation, those of us who are stepping in to our own divinity, we care. We care about this stuff, don't we? Good for you, Pamela. You got some advice. Please chime in. I would appreciate that. We live a daily life, and yet we strive for the divine. And so many of us have the two worlds separated. We separate our divine practices, whether it's meditation or divination or rituals or shamanism or working, whatever that is, we separate that from the life that we live every day. And then we're frustrated in our everyday life because we don't seem to be connecting with people in the deep way that we are connecting with the divine. Now, part of that, of course, is the fact that the divine is inside of you. So obviously, if it's already inside of you, you are going to be able to connect to that. And yet some people have the reverse. Some people find it much easier to connect with other people than they do to connect with the divine within us. Each of those represents a different type of love, a different type of earthly love. So you have the unconditional love of the universe, the unconditional love of divine within ourselves, the unconditional love that we are learning to have for ourselves, for our human, that houses that divine energy, right? It's easy for us to say in an abstract way, I love God, I love divine, I love the energy, I love the collective. And yet, because we house that energy, we are everything. We are the universe, all pop. There's our first orb, y'all. Right here in this body. It can be sometimes difficult to turn that love inwards and to integrate it with our human self, to integrate it with who we are on this journey, right? Who we are presenting as in this incarnation. So that's one of the challenges with love. And we're going to reconnect to this in a minute, because not stepping in to that love of self will affect your relationships and your love of others. Okay. So then if we flip over to the other one, there are some spiritual people who have dug so deep into their own woo-woo. They have really just wrapped themselves in spirituality to the point that it becomes almost like a rubber room that keeps them disconnected from others. If you go too deep into your isolationism, into your personal divinity, you then almost lose the empathy that you need to have for other people. There's a level of detachment that comes from connecting on a deep way with your divinity. And that's a good thing, because then you are able to have empathy for others, but not become their savior, have empathy for the world, but not be brought down by the energy. You can still maintain your own light, your own glow without taking that on. But if we go too deep into that, there are spiritual leaders who have lost touch with the understanding of others, with the empathy for what others are going through. They will say things like, this is the way that I believe it, and if you don't like it, too bad for you. That sounds like a you problem. And people will do this in their own ego as well. Uh, Not to call anyone out, but a lot of that is tied into that ego. When we think that we are so aligned with divine that we are above others, smarter than what they are, that we see it in a way that is right and their way is wrong, right? And we talked about this in perspective a couple shows back, where I was talking about how our life experiences create our perspective on things, right? And so they'll have a yellow box, right? If we're both looking at a yellow box, but my glasses are red because of what I've been through, and your glasses are blue because of what you've been through. When I look at the box, it's orange. And when they look at the box, it's green. We are both right because of our experiences. And yet we are both wrong because the box is actually yellow, right? So oftentimes when we lean in too deeply to our individual, isolated, divine experience, we will use it as a shield to disconnect from humanity, from humans. How many times have you heard a spiritual person say, I wish I could just poof away. I wish they would just beam me up. I wish I didn't have to deal with the things in this world. I know it hurts. I know it's painful. I know it's difficult. But it is our journey to be connected to this world. We are grounded to this world in a physical body. And if we were meant to not be here, believe me, we would not be here. And it's a very difficult balance and duality that we must hold within ourselves to both embrace the human and integrate the divine. It's like a tightrope, because if you step too far to one side or the other, you may fall. And luckily, there's always a net to catch us. Not a net like a net from the Cello Mickey Mouse Club, a net. There's always a net to catch us in that space as we walk that tight line of embracing the human and integrating the divine. So that's one form of love that when spiritual people talk about love, that's often the thing that we lean into. That's often the part that we lean into is love of the universe, love of our brothers and sisters, and pushing that kind of love out is often way easier than embracing it ourselves. Hi, Mastana, Mastana. It's often way easier to push that love outward than it is to turn it inwards, right? Yes, Pamela, that's beautiful. Pamela says she's a caregiver. For those of you on YouTube not watching over there, welcome, Mary. So this internal love, this love of self, this integrating of divine, while it seems like that portion of the spiritual journey is actually separate from the relationships that we have with people. Hi, Michelle. It's actually the most important component of our relationships with other people. Because to the degree that we love ourselves, to the degree that we embrace divine, to the degree that we believe we are worthy of love, that is the amount of love we will be able to receive. Because all of those around you are givers of love that comes from the universe. All of those around you, the love they give you is the love from divine in physical form. So when people love us, when people give us a hug, when people send us that love, they are sending the love of divine. And it is the level that we are willing to receive that love and feel worthy of it that then determines what moves forward. And our ability to receive it is often based on the conditioning that we have had in our life by the things we've gone through, by the people that we've known, by the life that we've led, by the experiences that we've had, by the hurts that we've gone through, by the traumas that we've stepped into and moved past, by the baggage that we carry. All of this affects our ability to receive love from others in whatever form it is offered. Because if we don't believe that we are worthy of love, we tend to sabotage. We tend to sabotage ourselves. We tend to not believe when others love us because we don't see ourselves as worthy of love. If we take it down to a very simple example, if somebody says to you, now you guys are pretty spiritual, so you might have this down pat. If somebody says to you, "Wow, you are beautiful," what do you say? What do you think? What's your reaction? For many, they get tied up in knots immediately, and the denials come out of their mouth. No, I look terrible. No, don't tell me that. No, don't lie to me. I used to tell people, don't say it, don't lie to me. I know what I look like. Don't tell me that. I appreciate the intention, but everybody knows a pretty girl who never accepts a compliment. Are you that pretty girl? Are you the one who never accepts a compliment? And why do you do that? Why do we push that stuff away? What if it's not about being pretty? What if it's about being smart? Wow, that was a really intelligent comment you made in the meeting. No, 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 no. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just throwing things out there. How you receive the love from the universe that is filtered through other humans says a lot about how you feel about yourself. Pay attention to those reactions. Pay attention to how you receive. Pay attention to your first thoughts when somebody says something beautiful to you. Because that's a clue. That's a clue to break that conditioning. If we turn it around and you're giving someone else a compliment and they start telling you all the reasons that you're wrong, oh, I think you're a wonderful person. I think you're kind and loving and beautiful. No, I'm this. I did a terrible thing. I lie. I cheat. I'm ugly. My hair is stupid. I'm fat. How do you feel listening to someone else go through that? You want to comfort them, right? You want to love on them. You want to give them your love. You want to embrace them in your beautiful divine energy, right? And yet, can you do that to yourself? Can you have that intention and that immediate reaction to comfort yourself? Something to think about. So now if we take this to the next level and we push it out. Let's see, Pamela is saying that, yeah, people called her a dog when she was younger. Same. That was a very popular insult back in the day, wasn't it? And it does stay with you for a very long time. But guess what? Those boys don't know what they're talking about. Who are they? Are they an authority on how you look, on beauty? No. And yet we hold on to their world looking at the yellow block through their blue glasses. And we put on those blue glasses and take on that same opinion from those people, those boys who know nothing about you. Hi, Rick, welcome. This is our conditioning. So then when somebody else says, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you're wonderful, oh, you're so talented, oh, you're so amazing, your immediate reaction is to go, no, no, no. Maybe because someone told you that you weren't in the past. Maybe because someone said to you, no, you're ugly, no, you're not smart enough, you're not quick enough, you're not thin enough, you're not talented enough. Right? And then there's another word. And then that turns around and affects our ability to receive that love. Because once again, when somebody compliments you, it is literally them sharing the divine love of the universe with you. They are sharing the energy of God with you. Divine, light, Gaia. So if I Gaia, I call it Fred. It does not make a difference. Y'all know that. So when we do that, when we allow those opinions of people who are long gone from our lives to color how we receive, it affects everything else in our life. Look, Pamela's still holding on to this decades later. Decades later. I held on to mine for decades. I would hear those people from school calling me names. I would hear my mother saying things about who I was and how I would never be anything, how I didn't deserve anything. We hold on to it. So now I'm just talking about compliments. Like, I took it to a very surface level there for a minute, just so we could really grasp that concept. Let's take it a little bit deeper. Let's take it a little bit deeper. So let's take it into a relationship. Let's take it to someone that we love, someone that we're in a romantic relationship with. And you are carrying around this thought. Pamela, I'm going right there with you. Pamela says that even when she looked good, she still felt ugly, and she was always questioning when people said something nice to her, were they lying? So now let's talk about that person you're now in a romantic love relationship with. And they tell you, oh, my darling, you look beautiful today. Do your hackles go up? Does that distrust come out? Do you think that your loved one is lying to you just to make you feel better? Because they have to? Do they love you because they have to? Are they with you because they feel sorry for you? These are the questions that go through our minds. When someone who loves us, oh, there was another one, that was a good one. When someone who loves us tries to give us the love of the universe, tries to share that love with us, our reaction is to start building up a distrust, is to start questioning whether they're sincere. And it may just cross your mind, but after 5 years of it, 10 years of it, 20 years of it, does it build up a resentment? Does it make you trust them less in other areas? Do you question everything they say? Because they are saying to you that you are beautiful and you don't believe it. Because they are saying to you that you are lovable and you don't believe it. Because they are devoting their lives to you. Hi, Carla, welcome. Because they are devoting their lives to you and you don't think you deserve that devotion. This is how we limit the love from divine. We sabotage relationships because we don't feel that we deserve it. I was married for many years, and my husband never felt that I loved him because he didn't feel he was worthy of love. And I never felt loved by him because I didn't think I was worthy of love. And we stayed together for 20 plus years in this space of, although we both loved each other and although we both cared about each other, we each sabotaged the situation in different ways. Him with infidelity and me with enabling that. Him with withholding affection, man-woman affection. And me with thinking it was because I was repulsive, so I must deserve this. Of course he's not going to want to be with me. We will rationalize this in our minds to support our own wrong thinking. And I'm going to call it wrong thinking, even though, there is no right and wrong. But I'm going to call it wrong thinking because it's thinking that doesn't support your highest good. And your highest good is embracing the unconditional love of divine that dwells within you. It is recognizing these moments of these relationships that allows us to pull away that baggage, to clean off some of that dark schmutz that we end up with all over us from that conditioning, from those boys who said that we were a dog back in elementary school. When we can clean that away and realize that is not truth, it certainly isn't my truth, then we start to change our life. Then we start to change our relationships, because then we are able to fully accept the love that is being given to us through those in our lives. Hello, Traibi Muhammad. When we can love ourselves and let go of the conditioning from those relationships that we've had in the past, from those things that have happened that have hurt us, then we can fully open ourselves up to where we are in the present without what happened in the past still happening to us, right? All time happens all the time. So when those boys called Pamela a dog back in elementary school, that's because that still hurts. It's still happening to her every time she recalls it. And anytime someone compliments her, she recalls it. And so that moment in time is repeated over and over again and given power in her life today. And it keeps her from being able to fully accept her beauty, her divinity, the love that is being shown to her by the universe, filtered through other humans. So let's take this to a different level. Another issue, we'll step into another situation with spiritual people. Spiritual people often end up paired up with someone who's not awake. Spiritual people have often found their awakening while they were in something like a 46-year marriage, like Pamela. They'll meet someone and be with someone and then have their awakening 5, 10, 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later. Now what? Now what? Now what do you do? Because now you're thinking of things in a different way. You start paying attention to your issues. You start paying attention to those moments where you are observing, oh my gosh, I'm lashing out at him because of something that happened, 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I don't really want to be doing this with him. I love this person. Or you recognize it in them, where they're doing things to you, and you are now able, through your empathy, through your understanding, to say, wow, he's in a lot of pain about this particular issue, and I had no idea. I always just thought he was trying to control me. But really, it's his fear of losing me that's causing him to do X, Y, Z. I always just thought he wanted to be the one to pick where we were going. But really, it's his fear of change that's driving that. Yes, Jill, oh, I get you. I feel it 100%. And the interesting thing is that in my particular situation, he didn't wake up until 2 years after our separation. And so now he's all woke, he's all trying to be woke, and it's too late for us to reconcile. Now we're past that point. We're good friends. We're very close. But now we're past the point of being a couple. And I'm like, well, damn, if you had done that while we were together, we'd probably still be together, Recognizing it in your partner, recognizing those patterns can also be really difficult, because at that point, you have to zip it. At that point, you have to not save them. You can mention it to them in passing. You can suggest that perhaps this is coming from a deeper place. But there is no way to force that person to change. It is your behavior that will change them. It is your reaction that will change them. It is your energy that will change them, because they choose to. If they change. Because they choose to. Because they choose to step into that space to stay with you. And I've talked about this in other lives. So we attract people who mirror our issues. So if you never feel heard, then you're with someone who never listens. If you don't feel like you are attractive, then you are connected to someone who doesn't give you compliments. Our issues are complementary, but in a very dysfunctional way. Let's see. Married people can feel love more than others. Is that true? I don't think so. But they've had longer to practice. Married people learn the rhythms of the love that the other person has and the way that they receive love and the way that they give love. Basically, because you live together, you learn each other's dysfunctional patterns and you can love them around that and give them those things that they think they're missing that help them to function. However, that's really not the best way to have a marriage. So, as I was saying this, we have these issues that fit together, right? And it creates a codependency both in dysfunction and in function. It's like Triabi Muhammad was saying, we will learn how to love someone in the way they want to be loved, but that creates a codependent situation because they only feel right if they are loved in that shape. So if we think of each of us as a shape, this is the shape of my dysfunction, this is the shape of your dysfunction, and we fit together, okay? Now, so it can work for years, this dysfunction. It can be beautiful for many years. However, are you awake? Can you stand within your own energy? Do you love yourself without the validation of your partner? Do you have strength without them reinforcing you? So these issues are shaped like this. And then one partner wakes up and they start to change shape. And now, let's have some kind of weird, they're shaped more like this with a little crystal in their hand, okay? And this partner doesn't fit on that shape in the same way. So then they have to change shape to fit again. They have to organically shift their issues and grow within that relationship. Or they'll fall off. But often what happens is the person who is this shape will only be this shape in private. And then when they connect with their partner, they go back to this shape so that they fit. Because they fear living in their own truth because of this partner possibly falling off. So then that creates another level of angst and pain and trauma for this partner who is living like this when they want to be living like this. And this partner never knows because you aren't being truthful with them, because you aren't living your truth out loud, or because they don't want you to change and so they refuse to see it. And so you do this again, and then you fit together in this dysfunctional, codependent way. Dysfunctional and functional, codependent way. If it works, don't fix it. Well, is it really working? If I wasn't here for 2 weeks, could you still function? If I go away for a month, are you still able to figure things out? Are you still able to exist and not feel stressed and not feel crazy and to be able to have that? So I'm not saying don't get in a relationship. Yes, I'm separated. Yes, I'm not in a relationship. However, I'm not saying don't be in a relationship. But what I am saying is look at all of the parts of the relationship and look at those places where you're holding each other up in a codependent way, where you feel like I can't do this without him or her, where you feel like I can't be happy without him or her or them. So now if we take that into a completely different space in this, right? Let's go to the single light workers. Let's go to the single spiritual people. I know a lot of people in this spiritual community are single, sometimes because their partner fell off when they became awakened, right? Sometimes because of the fact that they changed shape and became the observer and their partner couldn't deal with that. And so they went off to find another person with those issues that they fit with. So now you're single. I'm single. Now you're single. I hear a lot of, there's no one out there that understands what this is. I'm single because it empowers me. I'm single because I don't want to deal with all of that, right? But is that true? It's okay to be single by choice if you are actually single by choice. It's okay to be single by accident and to want to be in a relationship. Oh, wow, that was a good one. Did you guys see that right here? Whoo, nice. But also, it is okay for you to be single and empowering yourself as long as you're not hiding. Because many single spiritual people are hiding from possible pain, from the growing pains that come from a relationship. They hide behind their spirituality and say, I am okay by myself and I don't need any of that and I'm beyond that situation. And that's no judgment. But it is very often protection. It is very often a defense mechanism. It is very often a distraction from dealing with some of the traumas that we went through in whatever relationship it was that we were in before. Many times, us as spiritual people, healers, light workers, we hide behind our solitary lifestyle because we are actually isolating ourselves from possible pain. Look very closely at your own motivations. Look very closely at your own motivations when it comes to your single status. Are you truly doing it to work on yourself? Or are you doing it to avoid working on a partnership? Because I must swing it back. All faith systems talk about the power of two together, the masculine and the feminine, whether it's two men and two women or however it works, two theys, the light and the dark. There's always a duality. And there's power in the number two. There's power in the joining of your energy with another like-minded person. Even the Bible talks about where they gather in twos, I will be. And this energy, this connection in that is incredibly powerful. And if you are choosing to avoid it so that you don't encounter pain, then you are choosing to avoid part of your journey. Here, I'm a little bit out of order. Let me see. Relationships don't seem to build true love, but to get to one's purpose, which is sleeping with the partner, that depends on what type of relationship you're in, but you're absolutely right, because people have connected sex with relationship. People have, wow, that was another good one. People have connected the physical aspect with the emotional and spiritual aspect of a relationship. And yes, all three are intertwined in a way that cannot be untangled. When the partnership is fully formed, when the partnership is fleshed out and balanced in all areas, then the physical is there, the emotional is there, the mental is there, the spiritual is there, all woven together in a union that now expands and grows. And each of you growing individually and together in that sort of relationship. Each of you able to see from what you're doing with that person where your own issues still lie, those places in you that still need healing. And ideally, they are doing the same thing because you are mirroring the things in them that they need to expand as well. If we stay purposefully single because of we think that that's how we're growing, in many cases it is. But you get to a point where there are issues that you can only heal in conjunction with a partner. You may be real good at being single, but are you good with being with a partner? Are you good with working on those things that a partner might trigger? Anything that gives you a strong reaction is a place that needs healing. And so if even the thought of being with someone else and having a relationship gives you a strong feeling and you're getting pissed off at me right now, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, because that's where your healing is. That's where your healing. Because there is power in union. But the power of union is each person being a whole and fitting together as well. Each person having their own individual sovereign selves, and yet being able to combine them to embrace divine in a larger way, on a grander scale. Make magic. Being able to see that in others, being able to recognize that in others is absolutely amazing. Being able to step into that energy is something that few people find. And yet, because you are here, because you are a spiritual person, you have that ability. You have it right at your fingertips. And it all comes from within you. It all comes from the person that you are inside. It all comes from your connection with divine. It all comes from how you love yourself within that divine energy. Embracing that. You are beloved. You matter. You are loved. And all the love that people give you, all the compliments that people give you, all those places that need a little bit of attention, all of those places, all of that love comes from God, comes from divine, comes from the universe. Be receptive to it. Be open to receiving it. Because it's there for you. It's an extension of you. It's a piece of the divine energy that you already have inside of you. And it's being expressed to you by those out in the world. It's a beautiful thing. And it's all there for us. I hope every single one of you enjoys Valentine's Day tomorrow. I hope each of you takes a moment to be the observer in your own love situations, whether you have a partner or not. I hope that each of you takes a minute to do something loving for yourself on Valentine's Day, to go someplace nice, to do something kind for yourself, to say a few nice words to yourself. The relationship that you have with yourself is just as important as the relationships that you have with others. Because the extent to which you can love yourself is the extent to which you can receive love. I'm super grateful to you guys. I love coming here. It's funny, I got someone over on YouTube who's putting all this dirty stuff up there, and I'm not going to answer that, but I'm grateful to it because it gets my comments up on YouTube, so maybe my video will be seen by more people. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, I want you to go out there, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself. Throw away those things that people have said about you in the past that do not apply. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are beloved. You matter. You are loved. And have a great weekend, y'all.